After the attacks on September 11th, folk, the Patriot Act was passed. Now, to make sure I did not get a phone call, I turned this thing off. I'm going to dig it out to demonstrate a point. You may or may not know that as long as you have one of these on you that's working, the government knows where you are if they want to find you any time. Now, of course, I don't think they're looking at it because the government is too busy to watch every one of us. But if they decide that you might be a threat, they can monitor your phone calls. I say this tongue-in-cheek now. I've heard this. The Patriot Act gave the government the authority to listen in on private phone conversations of people they suspect. This is in your book. Oh, it's there. And it's also read about from other sources. Now, I mean, personally, I don't care. I'm not fighting against my government, not really. And I'm not conspiring with a bunch of group of extremists to try to overthrow the government. They can listen in on me all they want. I'm not saying anything that I'm ashamed of. And what I say here goes out on the internet, or if I don't want it heard, I'll cut the camera off. But I mean, I don't care what they hear that I say. And yes, if my bosses want to know what I'm teaching, I make it easy for them to find out. But if you're conspiring, be careful. The government might be listening in. It is possible, folk. And if you decide to run away and you carry your cell phone with you, and the government wants to find you, oh my, you're not going to get far. People who are running from the government have learned, get rid of this thing. And some people who did some mass shooting not long ago threw theirs in a garbage can. But the government agents were able to find them in a garbage can and decode them and learn a whole lot about what these people are up to. This happened just a few years ago. Again, I just got to ask, how many of you heard what I just said from other sources? Okay, at least 3 hands went up. All right, 3 hands. Okay. George Bush, like our present president, did not believe in global warming. George Bush, 43. He withdrew our country from a treaty that we made to try to curb global warming. Folk, all right, I'll tell you, I'm wearing a sweater today. It's rare that I wear a sweater this far south on April 27th. But, okay, it was cold this morning, down to 48 according to my car's thermometer. I say my car. I came to work today in a borrowed car. And if you happen to smell tobacco on me, it's not because I've been smoking, it's because the person I had to borrow the car from is a chain smoker. So I had to borrow a car so that my wife could meet another appointment. We have 2 cars between the 3 of us. And so I had to, but anyway, I'm here. But the point I'm making is I had to drive with the windows down. That's one reason I put the sweater on. But another point I'm making is, why would I need a sweater? I mean, I see some of you wearing heavy clothing. Do you know it's April the 27th? It's supposed to be hot out. It's not going to be hot come Monday. I mean, I'm not going to tell you it's not going to warm up. But I think the global warming thing is going to, it's only been a few years ago that they were predicting ice age. Yes, they have. Some of you noted that in your papers. Just a few years ago that we were going to have an ice age. Now they're predicting global warming. But I think, folks, that what really is determining our weather is not what's going on with us. It's the sun above us. It's 800,000 miles in diameter. The Earth is only 8,000 miles in diameter. The sun above us, and when it cools, I'm saying when, not if, we're going to get cold also. It's happened before. What caused the little ice age? We now believe the sun cooled. What caused the Black Death that killed 1/3 of Europe? The sun cooled. How the sun cooled and people would plant their crops and the frost hit the crops before the crops ripened. And they starved. And the resistance to disease was lowered. It's believed that most of China's dynasties fell when the sun cooled down, the sun above us. If it happens again, we could find all of our houses under 6 or 8 feet of ice, and we'd be forced to move into the equatorial regions of South America. It can happen. We go through periods of alternating ice age and heat, but nevertheless, a lot of persons are insisting 2 things about global warming. Number 1, it's real, which I don't question. But number 2, it's man-made, which I seriously question. It's sun-made. The sun above us. How does man-made carbon emissions make the planets Jupiter, Saturn, Uranus warmer? They don't. The problem, though, we have, there was some articles published that these planets were becoming warmer also. Man-made carbon emissions cannot make a foreign planet warmer. What does? The sun rises in temperature. But we don't have enough data to actually prove that yet. Now, as we get better ways of measuring the temperature of these planets, get satellites around these planets, we might find that they're either warming up or cooling down, but we don't have the data yet to prove it. All right, moving on. Okay, one thing and then I'll close. President Obama pulled troops from Iraq. Not being critical of this move, it was a thing to do. I had a Middle Eastern woman ask me, did things get better after we left Iraq, or did things get worse? Now, how could I have honestly answered that question for her? Are things better off in Iraq now that we got rid of Saddam Hussein, or are things worse? There's only one answer I could have given. It was not the answer I wanted to give. Any of you? Things have gotten worse in Iraq since we got rid of Saddam Hussein. It's like you get rid of a bad guy and a worse guy takes his place. We're like a lot of young men. I don't want my daddy telling me what to do. I don't want my mommy telling me to clean out my sink. I'm going to go join the Marines. Oh yes, young men will do that, and if the Marines will have them, and sometimes the Marines will take them, they find out those Marine corporals make their daddies seem like a soft-spoken, mild-mannered, easygoing man. Do the Marines tell them they need to clean their clothes? Do the Marines tell them they need to clean out the sink, the latrines? Some of you might know. Do the Marines tell them they need to sweep their floors? Some of you know this. And yes, do the Marines restrict them? Ooh, my. They'll think their daddy was an easy-going, soft-spoken man when they listen to a Marine corporal. Marine corporals are mean and hard to please. And they inspect. And check your ears. If your ears aren't right, they'll make you wash right there in front of the rest of the crew. I know a little bit of what I'm talking about. All right.